Hello, my name is Nicholas Jennings, and today we're going to be talking about Black Mirror. Black Mirror is one of my favorite Netflix shows ever. Now, it's not as good as, say, Daredevil before it got canceled. Thank you, Netflix, by the way, for that really stupid decision. But Black Mirror recently has been doing something very experimental, and although the concept itself of what Black Mirror has been trying to do on Netflix isn't anything new, because we've seen something like that in, say, Return to Hill House with its multiple different endings, or not really multiple different endings, but multiple different scenarios. I think Black Mirror actually manages to do something that's very interesting with the concept. So, let's talk about Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch follows Stefan, a computer guy who's been reading a book called Bandersnatch, a book in which has multiple different endings. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure book, and he wants to make it into a video game. So he is approached by Tuckersoft, a sort of game company in England, and he goes to talk with the game developers about developing the game. And from there, we get a bit of a different type of movie. Now, in the marketing for this movie prior to its release, it actually said it's not exactly a film, it's an event. It's an event film, and depending on which way you're going, it'll choose a different outcome. And if you were to play out every single possibility in this movie, you would be playing for 5.5 hours. 5.5 hours. Every single possibility. If you were to replay the entire movie through and choose different options every single time, it's a lot to go through. And what I really enjoyed about this experience is that no matter which direction you're going in, you'll always have something different about each one. So take this for instance. There's a scene in which you have to choose one of two things. You have to either visit Dr. Haynes, or you have to go talk to Colin, who is the head game developer at Tuckersoft. And if you choose Dr. Haynes, you talk to Dr. Haynes about, being anxious. But if you go talk to Colin, he's going to offer you some drugs, and you could, whether or not you choose to take them or not, it doesn't really matter in this case. And he talks to you about government conspiracies and plants that idea in your character's head. And I really enjoyed this experience. I wouldn't say it's a movie per se, because it's not necessarily a streamlined movie. Because of the many different paths you could take, there's literally 3 or 4 movies in this entire movie, or this entire experience, and it's very interesting. So let's actually talk about the different paths. One path being, you accept the offer to take the job at Tuckersoft, and your game that you wanted to make was heavily streamlined, and you get a very middling review. And then you go back in time to July 9th, 1984, where this movie begins, and restart your day from Tuckersoft. And that's kind of a small glimpse at what you could potentially do. And then from there, there's like tons of different things. I don't want to spoil any of the endings, because I know some people are still watching it, but that's just an example of what can happen. But there's 4 or 5 different possible endings in this film. There's even one path that I found extremely meta and actually points to something very different. Like, it points to the fact that, maybe Netflix users are a bit sadistic if they're given the opportunity to choose someone's own adventure. But let's talk about how this is unique to Black Mirror, because I feel like, because this experience might be a success, a full-on success, I feel like Netflix is probably going to take advantage of this and simply make more of these. And I want to discuss why Netflix probably shouldn't. The concept itself for, the choose your own adventure thing has been done before. There has been theater experiences already that have done the whole, choose A, choose B to go there. There's even theme park rides that have randomized, like Star Tours, for example, is one, where you have various different, it's randomized, right? And for each of these rides you go on, you get a different experience each time, so it's a rewritability sort of thing. But this event is something that I think is purely different, because it's uniquely geared to Black Mirror. So let's look at why it's unique. First off, it actually tells more about the social comment. It's more of a social commentary on how art can be a bit more maddening as time goes on, especially if you're doing a choose your own adventure type stuff, which is also a meta commentary, I feel, on how Netflix is trying to push for more of these more of these experiences. And there's even a branching storyline where you yourself, the viewers, get to actually choose what happens to Stefan. Granted, you're the one who's still piloting it, but you break their fourth wall and essentially break their reality, as opposed to the film breaking our reality. Like, when a movie just talks to you in like first person, like Deadpool, for example, when he addresses the audience, you address Stefan. So it's a reverse breaking the fourth wall in a certain aspect. And it plays into the social the social commentary on how Netflix users can be fucking sadistic. But there's other storylines too, and I'll say it right now, I'm kind of tumbling through this a bit, kind of like Alice through a fucking rabbit hole, but it's a pretty tough thing to discuss because I don't want to spoil anything. And also, it's a bit difficult to actually comprehend. It's not entirely difficult, right? It's very unique. It's very different. It's kind of like, in a sense, The Limit, the VR movie, The Limit, with directed by Robert Rodriguez, that was recently touted around and being like, oh, this is the next stage in film viewing. And Black Mirror's Bandersnatch is the same way. I think Bandersnatch should be its own thing, and I don't think the gimmick should be used anywhere else. And that's just because I feel it was just too unique. It's too tailor-made to something like Black Mirror, and because of the various different endings and their implications, if you follow each of the different paths of different stories, it ends up being various different unique episodes of the show Black Mirror. And I don't think you could copy it in different ways and make it unique every time. I think, for me, this is a one-time experience that I thought was well chosen to be a Black Mirror event. If it had been any other franchise, I don't think it would have worked out so well. But I think Black Mirror, the event itself, I thought was pretty cool. I mean, there's tons of Easter eggs in this. There's, depending on which pathway you choose, there's just tons. There's tons of things about it that I think is very unique that I don't think should ever be replicated. So, yeah, I'm not going to give this a score, but I found this very oddly unique. So if you're wanting to find something to do on New Year's Eve with some friends, or you have some free time, play around with Bandersnatch on Netflix. It's a very fun, unique take on the whole choose your own adventure genre. It's not perfect. Some of the characters can seem a bit one-dimensional, but I like this experience, and I think this is what David Cage has been wanting to see for a long time. With his games like Detroit Become Human. Like, if David Cage from that company, who makes Detroit Become Human, if he just decides to make movies, I think he could do stuff like this. I think he could do stuff like that. So yeah, no score for Bandersnatch for me, because it's too much of a, I don't think I could fairly judge it, because there's so many different, there's like 3 stories in this movie, and I can't judge it because there's just so many stories to really latch onto, and it's a very unfocused movie in that sense. If you were to look at it as a pure movie, it's unfocused. So I'm not going to give it a review score just yet. I need to marinate in it a little bit more. But I just wanted to talk about Bandersnatch. It's a very unique experience, and definitely check it out. Yeah, so next time I'm going to talk about Aquaman, finally. It'll be the last review of the year, hopefully. And then I got another video to do, which is the state of the channel, and we're going to talk about some things with it, and it'll be fun. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.